And a good evening from virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. It is the segment number 1 finale for season 2 of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. Along with Hannah Newhouse and Rusty Walrus, I'm Adam Mackey bringing you the best in eNASCAR Heat racing, the eNASCAR Cup Series tonight. Hannah, tonight will not only determine race winners, we're also going to lock in 2 drivers for the season-ending championship. What kind of drama will that lead to as the night progresses?
Well, going into this race, there's a close points battle in both the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms. So these drivers are going to be weighing a lot of risk versus reward. You've got a couple of them that are close at the front runners. Will they play the conservation? Will they hold back and just aim for a good finish, knowing that that could be what locks them into the championship finale? Or are these guys going to be taking the risk, knowing that, hey, no one can finish higher than me in points if I get that win? But we could also see some of these guys that don't maybe feel like they have a chance at locking in via points tonight that will just go all for getting that win for their team tonight. So there's a lot on the table for a couple of these drivers, and I would highly expect things to get exciting as some of them take risk and some of them hang back a little bit.
Getting into that championship race is going to be tough. You have 3 segments. A winner of each segment goes into the championship, Rusty. A wild card winner goes into the championship. It's tough to get in $30,000 to win the championship race later this season. A lot on the line tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line, and the competition is so fierce right now on the PlayStation side. Anyone at any time could win one of these races. In this track that we're headed to today, the drivers told me it is the toughest on the schedule with the flat surface, the tire wear. Anyone could win this. Did they bring a short run car, long run car? And if they're there at the end, what are they willing to do at the end to advance to the championship race? Because we saw 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, came down in the last corner with some contact. Last week at Dover, a little bit of race contact. I'm so excited to get to this race on the PlayStation side, but at Xbox, it's Brooks versus Buttafuoco. It's a heavyweight battle. One of these guys, only one right now, can get to the championship, and they're going to want to take care of it right here, right now in the opening segment of this season.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching as the night progresses. We've got the PS4 gamers. They're coming up first. We've got the Xbox gamers coming up as well as we take a look now at a rundown on everything we're going to see tonight. We're going to start with the pace lap for the Xbox gamers. It's coming up here in just a few moments. We've got the PS4 gamers coming up as well tonight as we're going to watch this event go throughout the evening. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to watch those points battle. I think Rusty's going to have the calculator out determining who's going to go to the championship race, watching that points battle. This is week number 4 coming up here tonight on our eNASCAR Heat coverage. It is New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Hannah Newhouse and Rusty Walrus joining myself, Adam Mackey, as we take a look above the New Hampshire Motor Speedway and the great racing that we are about to see. The drama will build as we get ready to go racing here tonight. Jake Morris, you know what? He had a few things to say about tonight's event. Jake Morris is from Stewart-Haas.
All right, Stewart-Haas esports fans, it's the voice. I'm back, and I know you're frustrated. I know you're wondering what's going on. Heck, we're a little frustrated over here. We know we came off the championship season last year in 2019. You know, we won the title. We should have carried that momentum over to this season. But don't write us off yet. Don't be like these other teams that are talking smack on social media. Yeah, I know. They're talking smack to the voice, the king of smack talk on social media about how we're 6th, we're 7th, we're 8th in the standings. We're way back there. We don't stand a chance. You know, these guys are all up front, and they're pulling away with things. That's not the case. Look at what happened last year. They all wrote us off early, and we came back and we dominated. That's what's going to happen this year. So to all those teams out there talking smack to the voice, the king of smack talk, I don't know what you're doing. You're just setting yourself up for humiliation. So Chip Ganassi Gaming, Penske Esports, and especially RCR Esports, I would keep quiet for a little bit. And for RCR Esports specifically, I've got one little thing for you. Hold my watch. We're coming.
You know it's getting real when there's a watch drop involved, Hannah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's going to do that watch drop, I don't know if that was his bed in the background, but maybe he should make his bed. if you hear
And
me,
then the
Jake,
mic drop
probably should
from
make
Hannah.
your bet if you're going to be talking some smack. Yeah, I'm going to throw some smack back here from your commentators of eNASCAR. But no, I'm looking forward to tonight, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Again, 55 laps in total for tonight's race, 3 times the tire wear, and full damage. And Rusty said it. This is one of the most difficult racetracks for these guys with the flat surface, the high tire wear. Fuel mileage definitely going to play in tonight. Really looking forward to where people are going to weigh the brains and the strategy over the aggressiveness.
You burn those tires off, Rusty. It can be real tough to get through these long corners. It makes them feel even longer with as flat as they are.
Yeah, and tonight it's all about longevity. Who is going to be there at the end? If you fire off fast, that might hurt your long run speed. But some of these guys, they've planned for that. Where their car comes to them later in the run, and you'll start to see that sweet spot in the green flag run after a pit stop in that kind of 10 to 15 lap range. That's when the cars are really starting to transition from a short run potentially car to a long run car. And you're going to see some guys in the back race their way forward. And at the end of the tire wear, you're going to start to see maybe guys that jump out to a lead like Brandon Gritton. He might start to fade back through the field. So keep an eye on the tire wear. That's the story of today and how it plays into your track position.
Last week we had racing action from Dover, the Monster Mile. And here's a look back at last week's PS4 race. And we are underway from Dover International Speedway. Nick Jobs claiming the win opening week, and a little bit of contact. Up the track goes the number 1 of Castro. Castro moved way up the bank now, 3 wide on the exit of turn number 2.
Yeah, they're hanging on right now. They're about to pit. Maybe this time by look for them to signal down the backstretch. Maybe that's why Joey Stone showed a little bit of impatience to get the lead back, to kind of control the lead, control the entry into pit, control the exit down off the racetrack. Let's take a look here, see what happens with Brandon Gritton as he sends it off on Joey Stone, and it appears he is pulling down on the pit road. That was a pretty aggressive move.
It is go time, and he's right there in the second spot. He's closed the gap. He looks to the inside, heading down into turn number 3. Arnold for the lead. Mitchell on the outside might get shuffled out of the top 5 if he's not careful. They're lined up on the low lane, coming off of turn 4.
Giles to the 3rd position. Mitchell now in the second battles with Giles. They swap back and forth. Wow, what a hornet's nest we have here, Adam.
Tonight is different. Kyle Arnold will bring home the victory. Yes, it was exciting from Dover International Speedway a week ago. Tonight, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the site for the finale of segment 1 of 3 segments this year. The cars have taken the track. We're going to pace the field around the track as we take a look at tonight's starting lineup. Brandon Gritton gets the pole from Stuart Haas Esports. A champion a year ago, Gritton brings it from position 1. Joey Stone will start outside in second. Nick Jobs and Cody Giles, they make up row number 2 tonight, Hannah.
Strong first 4 drivers there, but Josh Harbin there in row 3. And outside of him, Kyle Arnold. We saw him win recently, looking for another one. Brandon Hanna in row 4, and Joe Gornick with Junior Motorsports makes up the outside spot of row 4.
Next 2 rows, Josh Parker in the Gibbs Gaming number 18, and Maxwell Castro. We've seen him in victory lane this year. For Chip Ganassi, he starts on the outside of row 5. Row 6, Corey Rothgeb and Mike Bross. And then rounding out our field in row number 7, not where you want to start, with a lap until we go green, Jason Mitchell in the Go Fast Gaming number 32, and TJ McGowan in the 47 JTG Doherty Throttlers machine. So about 3/4 of a lap from seeing the green, Hannah. We are determining a segment 1 winner for the PS4 gamers tonight. When you look at the points, they are tight. The top 4 within 3 points of one another. It's going to be exciting.
That it is. It'll be a question of who's going to jump the gun here, who's going to be aggressive. Brandon Gritton, you heard it from Jake Morris, looking to show he's here for wins and to contend for that championship. But points are on the line. Interesting to see how these drivers will play out tonight.
The eNASCAR Heat Pro League getting ready for the final race of segment 1 in season 2. It's race 4 of 14 for the 2020 season at Virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and the green flag is out in this 55-lap race. Watching the field race into turn number 3 at this 1-mile track, leading the way. A champion a year ago, Brandon Gritton in the number 14, looking good at the front of the field. We're single file the first couple of spots. Then we're racing a little bit mid-pack as you watch that Smithfield number 14 lead lap number 1, Rusty. Oh, look at him lift the left front off the ground.
Yeah, Brandon Gritton is flying right now, and Joey Stone told me to head into this race, you got to get out in front of Brandon Gritton to put the pressure on him to perform, but Gritton is controlling the race, and this is the place you want to be. Clean air, track position control. Like I said earlier, this track is tough to pass. It's a challenge for these drivers, but if you're able to position your car, you can control the race, but keep an eye on the next few laps as the tire wear starts to play a factor, and Joey Stone kind of pressures Gritton here for the lead.
Expected to be a one pit stop race tonight, most likely pitting around the midway mark of this 55-lap event as Gritton leads, Stone runs second, Jobs is third, Harbin fourth, Gornick runs in the fifth spot. You know, the top four in our championship, Castro, Arnold, Jobs, and Mitchell, ones that we're watching right now for the championship. Jobs right there in the fourth position, the best right now of our championship contenders. And as we watch some contact as they enter turn 3.
No one holding back early on tonight here in New Hampshire, but Brandon Gritton with a good lead, but a battle heating up there with Gornick, Jobs, and Harbin. Those three nose to tail as it looks like Gornick will try and tuck to the inside. Will fall back behind Harbin there, but Nick Jobs waiting patiently in that spot. How long will his patience last? If I have any guesses, probably not long. Nick Jobs not one of the drivers that seems to be the patient type, but he's had some good runs early on thus far in the Pro League, and we'll look to continue that tonight and maybe get up there and challenge our leader, Brandon Gritton.
Watching Jobs in the ally number 25, now looking back at the number 13. A little deeper in the field is Arnold. Arnold tied for the championship lead. The segment 1 lead with Castro coming into the event at 76 points. But right now, Arnold finds himself way back in the field, now drops to the bottom of the track in the Geico number 13. Oh, we have some championship contenders right now. Segment 1 contenders trying to qualify for the championship race. Rusty in a little bit of trouble.
I am in shock right now. I expected Kyle Arnold to be up front and contend for this one. He told me before the race he had 2 cars that could win this thing, but he's already in the very back of the pack in a place where track position matters so much. Championship eligibility might be out the window, but we'll see. There's still a long way to go, but we're right on board right now. With Josh Gornick, and he's fighting underneath Josh Harbin for second. Josh Harbin is still championship eligible, and this is where the point in the race where my calculator starts smoking, because Josh Harbin a little bit further back in the points, but if he wins this, he puts the pressure onto Nick Jobs, onto Maxwell Castro, and to Kyle Arnold, and maybe he could steal this segment 1 win. But currently, right now, as they run, Nick Jobs is your championship leader, but this championship battle's eligibility is only going to heat up as this thing goes on.
Watching now as Gornick drops to the bottom of Harbin, the battle for the second spot. Gornick looking strong right now. Car hooks the bottom lane well, does drop into line for a moment as they head down the straightaway into the next corner. Harbin, see him down in the lower right of our screen. He's working for the second position. It's going to be Gornick taking the second spot from Harbin as they race down the front stretch. The inside lane, Hannon, looks like it's a tough place to keep that momentum up and clear him for a pass. He's been unable to do it quite yet as we watch him battle at the bottom of the screen inside their cockpits.
And you see it right there. Josh Harbin messed up. He gave him too much room on the bottom there. Didn't take that momentum away from him, and that allowed Gornick to slide up in front of him and take that second position. And Joey Stone just a little late to take advantage of that. Joey Stone was going to try and follow Gornick through that hole. Josh Harbin, though, able to get down below him and block that run of Joey Stone. So now it's on Stone to try and set up Harbin the same way. But like you said, when you're on that inside groove, though it's preferred, if someone's on the outside of you, their smart move is going to be to pinch you down at the bottom and take away any momentum you have. While New Hampshire is one of the bigger tracks we go to, it races like a short track. It's flat. It's abrasive on these tires. So taking these drivers' momentum away, you can contend on the outside, but the inside definitely preferred groove.
And now look for the lead, dropping to the low lane. Gritton gets a little bit of contact from the inside lane. Gornick is going to use that little bump and run and take over the number 1 spot. Gornick moves into the lead. Here comes Harbin for second, and Gritton, after leading by several car lengths, kind of fell back to the field a little bit, maybe using up his tires early, and now he's back to third and maybe falling even further as Gornick will lead this next time by. Rusty?
As predicted, this is the point in the race where your tires start to fade as the cars transition. You got the comers, you got the goers. Gritton is going to the back. Joe Gornick is going to the front. He's leading laps at New Hampshire, and it looks like the Bear is putting the pressure back on Gritton for second, as Joey Stone is right there as well. But I'm going to keep my eye on Gritton. He's an aggressive driver. As you see him run Bear really high right there through 3 and 4. But this battle is not over. I keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, you know, we thought maybe this track they would kind of get spread out a little bit, but so far over the first 10 to 15 laps, it's been highly exciting and highly contested up in our top 5 or 10 spots. And I guess that shouldn't be much of a surprise. This PS4 gamers all season long, at least to this point, have put on great shows. We watched the Ally 25 of Jobs right now completing our top 5. He's definitely one of the championship contenders. Came in only 1 point behind for the segment 1 lead, and a little bit of contact there with a Caterpillar number 8 of Stone. So a close call there for Jobs as they race into turn 1, Hannah.
Close call it is. Able to hold on to it, though. We'll try and rally back there. Everyone's settled down at the moment, but I don't expect that to last long. But great run tonight. I want to point this out for Joe Gornick in that number 7 of Junior Motorsports. He's had some tough luck throughout the first segment of this, and he's one of those drivers that, while not maybe there contending for the points this evening to capture that lock-in spot, he's ready for a win. And I think that could be the morale booster that he needs to go into the second segment that will actually be next Thursday. So we've been racing on Wednesday evenings. Next week, we will now move to Thursdays as we get ready to go racing again on NASCAR side of things. So looking forward to bringing everyone full weeks of racing action, especially on those Thursday evenings for NASCAR heat. But again, Nick Jobs, as you see riding along here, trying to track down Joey Stone. He's been gaining some ground on him, but everyone running pretty steady so far.
Watching them head into turn number 1 by the full virtual stands here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is the final race of the first segment for Season 2 of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. It's the PS4 gamers with Gornick leading the way, Harbin running second, Gritton running third, Stone and Giles rounding out the top 5. Four drivers came into this with a chance at the top of the standings. A very tight battle between Castro, Arnold, Jobs, and Mitchell. What are you seeing of those guys so far, Rusty, when it comes down to it?
You know, I'm looking back in the pack at Kyle Arnold. He did fall all the way to dead last, but he's worked his way up into 10th. The points, oh, they're close. Nick Jobs is currently your leader with 94 points. Maxwell Castro 2 points behind him. And Old Red, he's only 5 points behind Nick Jobs in third place in the championship standings. So as Kyle Arnold works his way forward, as he's up into 10th right now, you can expect him to work his way forward. This, like I predict, this could come down the last corner of the last lap. But we got a championship battle, like to get to the championship right here, right now. This is good stuff.
Gonna be crazy. 38 laps to go. Gornick leads the way, and the Brandt number 7 for Junior Motorsports, driver from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We're watching a little deeper in the field. Saw the number 1, one of our championship segment 1 contenders. And that's the number 1 of Maxwell Castro. Goes to the inside lane. Castro on the move. Moves up to the 7th spot as he clears the interstate batteries number 18 of Josh Parker, Hannah.
And Josh Parker in that beautiful green car. You can spot that thing absolutely anywhere on the racetrack. He's a spotter's dream right now, as some would say. But Castro, like you said, clears him for that 7th spot, has turned his eyesight to Nick Jobs, and he's running well. A little bobble there by him allowed Parker to close the gap on him. But looks like Jobs tried to make a move there under the bottom of Stone, couldn't quite make it happen. Stone with a wider corner, carried some momentum out of the corner, and will still retain that 5th spot.
Now the driver's starting to feel these cars, the setup, the handling starting to go away with the tire wear on these machines as they maybe get within the next 10 laps or so of a pit stop. Watching side-by-side action right there around the tail end of the top 5. Some contact takes place. Castro picks up the 6th position. Jobs has dropped back a couple of spots, and we've seen some rough side-by-side short track style racing here, Rusty.
I love the beating and banging, the Revens race, and this is what it's all about. When everything is on the line, this ×3 tire wear is definitely coming into a big factor right now as Jobs gets into the back Mitchell there. But the drivers told me before the race, the tire wear at this point right now, you're just hanging on for dear life, hoping to get to your pit stop and survive. Look at the cars spinning the tires off the corner off two as they head down the front stretch. They're giving it everything they have, and they're hanging on as Kyle Arnold sends it on the bottom there. This is picking up.
It's getting exciting, and I'm watching Kyle Arnold in that Geico number 13 come from the back of the field after falling back early. He's back up to 9th. He's got 2 or 3 drivers right in front of him. That could be huge for his championship contention, at least getting to that race. If he can win this segment tonight, win the points total, the first 4 races would put him into the championship event at the end of the year with that $30,000 top prize on the line. 33 laps to go in this race from New Hampshire for the PS4 platform. There's the Jobs, number 25, sponsored by Ally, back in the field working right behind the number 2 of Rothgeb. Corey Rothgeb in the outside lane, about to give up a position. It gets pretty tight as they head to turn 3, all looking for that same piece of real estate, Hannah.
And this all started with Nick Jobs and Castro, who now is in the 6th position. Some contact, everyone's splitting 3 wide. Mitchell taking advantage of that. Definitely some payback. We saw Nick Jobs really take a shot there for the rear bumper. Kyle Arnold, like you said, sent it into a corner at one point deep. I was surprised that everyone got out of that one safely. So these guys are laying it all on the line tonight. And when they're getting to the back bumper of each other, they are not wasting any time. Again, there's a lot on the line tonight for getting those last few points here, getting that win in segment 1, just for the bragging rights of having a win. And you get $2,000. So who doesn't want an extra $2,000 in their pocket right now? Something cool for these drivers. But Nick Jobs, a man on a mission now, trying to make up that ground. But Castro, you saw him there, also a man on a mission. He has worked his way through traffic multiple times, using that bumper a couple times, but been successful in doing so, trying to track down Cody Giles in that 16 for Wood Brothers.
Yeah, Castro came in tied for the points lead entering this final race of segment number 1, and he's worked himself back up into the 5th position, which could be huge. And what else is going to be huge? Pit stops coming up, Rusty. Tell us about them.
Oh, these drivers are screaming over the radio to pull in as soon as they can. They want the fresh set of 4 tires as soon as they can, and it's going to come down to the next couple of laps. So keep an eye on the transition into pit road. Last week we saw issues on the entrance to pit road at Dover. This week, this is a much easier entrance. So I don't anticipate any issues coming into pit road, but you never know, because when they're nose to tail and they come in screaming off the racetrack, they might cause some contact and get some damage, and it might impact their position on the racetrack. So keep an eye on that as they signal the pit here. Maybe we're seeing that right now. And but the drivers are really looking forward to these 4 tires right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. You can see they're handling a little bit rough. We saw Jobs a little while ago working the wheel and the focus on his face, and he looked a little bit stressed as he has fallen to the 8th position, and pit stops have begun. Gornick, Gritton, Castro, Hanna have all come to the pits. So is McGowan, who was running in the 13th, make it the 14th position. So pit stops have started. I would think that all the drivers, Hanna, probably will come to pit road here within a lap or 2 of each other. We'll see how it cycles out, but it's such a key getting on and off pit road, making it happen cleanly, getting back out, getting up to speed, and you try to cycle yourself past a couple of cars. As we see Jobs make his way to the pits, just misses the end of pit wall.
Ooh, close call there by Nick Jobs, and you'd said it right there. Everyone pretty much cycling through. No one really taking any risk here when it comes to pit strategy. But right before those pit stops started, the points shaken up again. So now Castro, your lead in the points as they stand. Kyle Arnold, who's working his way back through the field, sits in that 2nd position. 3 points separate them. It is going to be close. Unfortunately, Nick Jobs, who was at the top of them, slips back to the 4th position here in points. Don't worry, he's got 27 laps to go. And with only a handful of points, 6 to be exact, separating Nick Jobs in 4th and Castro, who's leading the points as they stand, a matter of a position or 2 could be the make or break for these drivers.
And of course, winning such a key. If you win a race, you get 10 extra points compared to the guy in 2nd. Goes 40 down to 30 points. The differential between 1st and 2nd. And that's huge when you've got 4 guys within 3 points of each other at the top, trying to make their way into the championship event by winning segment number 1 tonight. Gritton has cycled back through and is the leader again. He does a little better job on his pit stop than did Gornick, but Gornick just a half second behind. Harbin, Castro has worked his way up into 4th. He's moving forward right now is Castro. And the monster number 1 for Chip Ganassi Gaming, I think he's looking right now like the favorite here past the midway point of the race, Rusty.
Yes, Castro started in 10th place. He's driven all the way up into 4th. He has to have an unbelievable hot rod underneath him right now, but don't look in his rearview mirror right now. Get your popcorn ready. Kyle Arnold is coming. You remember Watkins Glen. There's still some drama there. There's some unfinished business between those two drivers. This could come down to some contact. Kyle Arnold previously said he's not going to use the bumper. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. I don't believe him personally, but if he gets there and there's a championship qualification on the line, hey, watch out. But this is just heating up right now. Let's go. Castro and Arnold. This is big time, baby.
Yeah, there's only one car in between the two right now. There were no points between the two coming into the race. They were tied at the top of the championship standings with 76 apiece. It may come down to which one of those two drivers finish ahead of the other. Arnold and Castro now 5th and 6th. Castro 1 spot ahead of Arnold. A little bit of separation there, 1.8 seconds difference, but still 23 laps to go. And we know Arnold's been on his way to the front as we watch Castro make his way off of turn number 2 there. And the Gear Wrench number 1 car as it makes its way down the backstretch. He completes the top 5 in the rundown right now with 23 to go. Britton leads the way. Gornick is running him down, soon to be a battle for the lead. The rest of the field back a couple of seconds, but that championship implication of getting to that race at the end of the year by winning the segment tonight is the key. As we watch the battle for the lead, on the outside lane is Gornick, on the inside is Britton, Hannah.
Gornick high out of the corner, almost makes contact with the outside wall, but picked up the momentum he needed to take the contact between the two leaders. Not good there. Gornick off the wall. Caution is out. Hits Brandon Gritton as a result. Not what either of these drivers want to see tonight. Hard contact for the Junior Motorsports and Stewart Haas Stewart Haas Esports drivers.
Interesting. Top 2 were going at it, and now yellow flag waves. First caution of the race. 21 laps to go in the event for the PS4 gamers. The championship battle is tight coming in. 4 drivers really within 3 points going for that segment 1 win to get them to the championship race. The top 2 in that were Castro in the 1 and Arnold in the 13. I noticed that in our rundown, Arnold now, Rusty, has fallen to 10th in our rundown, as here's the field getting ready for a restart.
It looks like we have a little bit of shakeup in the standings, maybe some strategy from Joey Stone. I would have expected everyone taking 4 tires and a splash of gas, but maybe Joey Stone opted for 2, maybe Nick Jobs opted for 2. This is going to really stack up the field here these next couple laps.
And we've got them 3 wide coming into turn 1, into turn 2. Leading the way is Stone off the corner, but it is a hornet's nest behind him. Dropping to the bottom of the track was Gornick in the 7. He has to come back up the banking. We're heading into turn 3. Leading the way is Stone. Gritton running 2nd. 3rd spot for Harbin. Coming down for 17 laps to go. How will this shake out for the championship? Arnold trying to work his way back up through in the 13. He's back up to 9th. We'll watch as he tries to come back through the field. And it's crazy right now, down to the final stages.
That is Joey Stone taking advantage of the situation, gets himself in front. Brandon Gritton, Rusty said it, he's an aggressive driver. He'll make the move when it needs as he goes to the bottom there, challenges Joey Stone. Stone high in the corner, side by side for the lead. Too high for Joey Stone, makes contact with Harbin. Gritton now the leader with 17 laps to go.
Gritton spent a lot of time at the front of the field in this race. He was a little further back in the championship chase, wasn't among our top 4. This could be garner a lot of points compared to the competition, but might have been just a little too far back to try to recover. But they want to pick up the win. He takes it hard off into the 3rd turn. Stay tuned. Our Xbox race coming up next. It won't be over at the end of this PlayStation event. 15 laps to go for Gritton, Harbin, Giles, Castro, and Stone. And Castro, one of the leading contenders in points, trying to make it to the championship. He's up to 4th, Rusty.
Yeah, he's up to 4th right now, hanging on just as we're right on board with Joey Stone, who's 2 tires. That strategy's not paying off. He's going from the front to the back. He's got to be disappointed with the fall off in his tires right there. But that's what we knew would happen coming into this race. He took a gamble. Maybe he thought cautions would come out and kind of get him to the end. But as this thing runs green, he's going to fall further and further back as Kyle Arnold works his way forward and is tightening up that points a little bit here. And I was looking at Josh Harbin taking the the second place position earlier. He's one of the most aggressive drivers out there, and one of the most clutch drivers I've ever seen. Is he going to use the front bumper to get past Gritton to pick up that win and make the points even tighter? Cody Giles back in third. He's not out of it. He almost won last week. But Castro and Arnold, this is getting tight, and it's only a 4-point lead right now.
Gritton, Harbin, Giles, Castro, Parker, the top 5 in our rundown. The whole field basically within one pack. They haven't separated yet. 13 laps to go as we watch them single file race down into turn 3, but just a matter of time before the tire wear starts to come into play. Some of the cars that aren't handling that great, maybe drivers over-driving them a little bit, they'll start to fade, and then we see exciting 2 and 3 wide battles like we saw earlier in this race. 12 to go. Gritton trying to pull away. There is Castro. Castro unofficially the points leader right now in the number 1 car, Hannah.
Gornick, though, making his way back to the front on the inside of Parker there for 5th and 6th spot. Gornick on a move there, trying to regain that front position, was there, but then contact with Gritton. Battle heating up there, but Castro now almost to the back bumper of Giles. You have to wonder if he'll make an aggressive move here with 11 laps to go, because like you said, the points are tight. He's at the top of them, and fortunately for him, his competitor of Kyle Arnold right behind him in the point standing runs in that 6th spot. That's only 1 car between them, though, so Castro needs to put as many cars between him and Arnold as he can in 10 laps.
Yeah, Rusty, I think Arnold right now has the fishing pole out, and he's starting to reel in Castro once again after restarting pretty deep in the pack after that last yellow and pit stop. Going to be down to 10 laps to go. Watching the championship battle. Who's going to win segment number 1? It was Castro and Arnold tied at the top coming into this event. Jobs was 3rd. Mitchell was 4th in the standings. Right now it's looking like Castro and Arnold are going to be the ones racing for the chance to play in the championship for $30,000 to win later this year in race number 14. This is race number 4. It's the final race of segment number 1. We're going to send somebody to the championship race after this one. It's been so tight. Who knows? May even come down to a tiebreaker if somebody else gets involved. But 9 to go. Gritton still leads, Rusty.
And cue the Jaws music. Kyle Arnold is on his way forward. He's in the hunt as a little bit of different angle of entry from Joe Gornick there, but Kyle Arnold, he's not holding back. He's trying to get up there and put the pressure on Joe Gornick and Maxwell Castro to take the points lead back. This is just heating up. We're got 8 laps to go. Are you kidding me? Brandon Gritton looking for his first one to win. The Bear is in the hunt as well on his back bumper. What is going to happen here in these final laps?
Just about to be a battle for the lead. Gritton's usually good on the short runs, then kind of fades back. That's what's happening here. Harbin's all over him. Giles is there ready to pounce. Castro, he's got a chance to win this race as well as go to the championship finale with a segment win. He's running 4th. He's within a second now. Gornick running 5th. Waiting for a move to be made for the lead. As you mentioned, the different angles that drivers are taking into the turn. Saw the 14 go to the bottom, all the way to the yellow line, drive it in deep. It was a different style for Harbin. He went in a little bit higher and tried to be a smooth driver through the turn, but they're side by side for the lead. Here comes a 3rd driver involved. That's Giles in the spin 6. He takes the 2nd spot and slipping back to Smithfield, number 14 of Gritton, Hannah.
Josh Harbin now in the lead, going to go into protect mode, but how long can he protect? Fortunately for him, a battle behind him with Giles and Gritton. And who's right behind them but Castro, watching this all play out in the catbird seat. He's hoping for contact. Bobble there by Gritton on the bottom of Giles' contact. Those two continually bouncing out of each other. Woo, bold move. Castro sends it through the corner. Hip checks him through the corner. Will take that 2nd spot. That was a very aggressive move by Castro. He got lucky that it played out for him, but you have to wonder with 5 laps to go, what is going through the mind of Gritton if he catches the back bumper of Castro?
Oh, and he does, and he makes a little contact coming off the corner, and this could be huge. Castro, the last thing he needs is to be involved in an accident while going for the segment win. He has Gritton all over him, side by side through 3 and 4. Gornick behind him making a move, picking up a position. We're watching them battle. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, down to the final 4 laps to go. Harbin's running away with it right now because they're racing so hard behind him. And Castro's slipping back a little bit. He needs to recover in the gear wrench number 1 if he wants to go to the championship race by winning this segment. Drivers all over the track, Rusty.
Holy cow! Gritton and Castro are going back and forth. Gritton hit the intimidate button on Castro a little bit earlier, but Castro came right back and let him know, hey, I don't appreciate that style of racing. But that's why I love the NASCAR Heat Pro League. They're sending it. They're using each other. Rubbin's racing as they're coming down to the end of this race.
Castro right now running in the third spot, and the gear wrench number 1 for Chip Ganassi Gaming, trying to claim the win in segment 1 by having the most points over the first 4 races to go to the championship race. Of course, each race pays $2,000 to win. The championship later pays $30,000 to the winner. And right now, Castro trying to go to that championship race, running in the third spot. Down to the final 2 laps of this event. The top 3 spreading out a little bit. Castro doesn't have anybody breathing down his neck. He's in a pretty good spot. How hard does he challenge, Hannah, the second position of Gritton right now?
If I'm Castro right now, I am riding cool, calm, and collected. Get off the back bumper of Gritton, because contact could end it for you. His competitor of Kyle Arnold, that was close in points, is in the 8th spot. Right now, he has this under wraps. All he needs to do is finish. Do not take any risks.
Josh Harbin leading the way. Gritton running second, Castro third, half a lap to go, entering turn 3 at Virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. There's Castro taking it through 3 and 4, running in third, looking good for that segment 1 win. But claiming the win at New Hampshire, crossing the line to the NASCAR Cup Series, is Harbin. In the 95, Harbin in the IT Consulting of St. Petersburg entry claims the victory. Gritton second, Castro third. Look at them celebrate at the bottom of the screen. Castro the lower right, Harbin the lower left. Victories for both when it all comes down to it tonight, Rusty.
Oh, the Bear gets the win, but Castro is clutch. Are you kidding me? Castro came through. He put himself in position to get to the championship. Chip Ganassi Gaming has their rookie driver. This is a rookie driver into the championship after segment 1. They picked the right driver, and man, I'm just so impressed by everybody out there in the PlayStation 4 side here today. But yeah, congratulations to the Bear and Maxwell Castro and Kyle Arnold for putting up a good fight there in today's race.
Crazy, crazy race for the PS4 gamers here tonight. Oh, wow. Doesn't get much better than that. You know what? The PS4 gamers, we thought that New Hampshire might lead to some single file and they'd spread out because it's a pretty big and it's a flat track. Actually, it was the opposite. Great, great race. One of the best ones we've seen so far this year.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, these drivers laid it all out there. Didn't matter. They didn't stay more than single file for a half a lap. There was battles throughout the entire field. There were drivers that personally were taking risks that were just beyond me. Payback and retaliation within a corner of each other, taking shots at bumpers. That's what we want to see, though. These drivers were laying it all out there all evening long, and it's going to carry into the rest of the season. This was one of 2 more segments, plus the wild card race. The season is just starting to heat up. So if this is what we're going to see all season, and it's only going to get spicier, we're in for a great second season of the Pro League.
Rusty, you need a fire extinguisher to put that fire out on that calculator over there.
Yeah, Hannah said it perfectly right there, but the points were going up and down all race. I'm watching it as they're updated. I couldn't believe, like I said, Castro, unreal. Kyle Arnold with the pressure to go from back to front. Unbelievable race today. That's what I live for. The competition on the PlayStation 4 side, so much fun. If they had a camera of me during that race, I was like jumping up and down like, oh my gosh, just the reactions. So much fun to watch that race. That was unbelievable, and it delivered on all the promises here today.
And we got the Xbox race coming up in just a few moments. So we're going to get to see some more great action. Drivers trying to lock into the championship race and a driver trying to claim a win for bragging rights at the end of segment number 1. But our first race of the evening is over. The PlayStation 4 event turned out to be a great one here at Virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Josh Harbin, Levine Family Gaming, claiming the victory in the 95. Brandon Gritton had a solid run up front all day. Finishes in second. Maxwell Castro takes third. Josh Parker, Joey Stone, Mike Bross, and Cody Giles rounding out the top 7, Hannah.
Great race for them. And Kyle Arnold tried to make a run there for that segment 1 championship. Unfortunate luck, comes home in that 8th position. Corey Rothgibb 9th. Jason Mitchell rounding out your top 10. Joe Gornick was there at the beginning, comes home in 11th, followed by Nick Jobs, TJ McGowan, and Brandon Hanna round out your field tonight.
Excellent event from Virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway tonight as the Xbox gamers get ready to go. Wrapping up here our PS4 numbers. They're the important numbers. The driver standings after round number 4, segment number 1 complete, Chip Ganassi Gaming and Maxwell Castro out of Sacramento, California, heading to the championship race. He's locked in, a chance to win 30 grand in race number 14 of the season coming up later this year. Josh Harbin, after his win tonight, that win so important, almost put him up there for a championship, just 8 points behind for Harbin. Kyle Arnold, up and down night tonight. Nick Jobs finishes 4th. Jason Mitchell, Brandon Gritton, Mike Bross completing the top 7 in segment number 1.
Those wins, like you'd mentioned, so important, getting that big points jump there. Joey Stone comes home in 8th, looking for a better segment too. Cody Giles in Wood Brothers Gaming comes home in 9th. Take a look a little bit farther back, though. Again, great run by Joe Gornick tonight. Not the finish that he wanted. In that 12th spot, Brandon Hanna with Roush Fenway and TJ McGowan round out your field. So these guys looking from segment 1 into segment 2, just under a week away, looking to improve those standings for another shot to lock in.
Hannah, get on those running shoes and sprint down to victory lane, because Josh Harbin from Levine Family Gaming and the IT Consulting St. Petersburg car out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama claims victory tonight. He ends up finishing 2nd in the standings for segment number 1. He's ready in victory lane, Hannah.
And this is my virtual workout running down to virtual victory lane. But Josh Harbin, you collect that win tonight at New Hampshire. We saw the excitement in your camera. You pointed at it. You knew you had the car tonight. At what point, because you were through the field a couple different times there, at what point did you say, hey, this is my race and I'm going to victory lane?
Well, first of all, Jacob Mons, hey, buddy, that one was for you. That's why we got autism awareness on the car. Man, I'll tell you what, ITC St. Pete Toyota was fast tonight. We knew we had a good car from the green flag, and we just tried to do our best to keep track position and stay out front right there at the end, and caught that caution, and a little bit of mechanical grip right there at the end is what won that race for us.
Now you've got this win with end segment 1 here. Points jumped up to that 2nd, so close here and locking in. But what confidence does this carry now into segment 2? You're coming off of a win. You've only improved this first segment. What's your confidence into this 2nd segment?
Well, last year we didn't win a race till about the 5th race of the season, so I feel like we're starting off pretty good. But, I think, last week we finished 3rd at Dover, and that was a good confidence booster, and we got everything we need to get the job done. Well, we're going to go after them in segment 2. Nice to get a win here.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that win tonight. We look forward to watching you the rest of the season.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Y'all have a good one.
Josh Harbin, the big victory tonight. Great effort for that 95 for the driver out of Alabama. A great effort over the first 4 races has put another driver into the championship event. The first one locked in because of his win of segment number 1 this year. He comes from Sacramento, California. He drives the number 1. He's been in victory lane this year with a win at Watkins Glen in a crazy exciting race a couple of weeks ago. Maxwell Castro is standing by with Hannah Newhouse.
And Maxwell Castro, you were on the gas tonight, laying it all out there, but it worked for you. Collected that segment 1 championship, and you're going to the championship finale. First, the emotions knowing that you get to race for $30,000.
I can't believe it. I absolutely can't believe it. I started 10th place, and it wasn't ideal, and I raced through the field pretty cleanly. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. The caution came out, and I thought it was over because I had put myself in a good spot, and then that restart was nuts, and I was lucky enough to come out 3rd place. I just want to thank Chip Ganassi Gaming, Gear Wrench, Monster Energy. This is incredible. We're going to be in the championship. That's insane.
Now, I have to ask you there, the rookie driver for Ganassi Gaming here as well, lock in on this first round. Was this something you guys had placed in your expectations, or have you exceeded them now having locked it in this first segment?
Being a rookie in the Pro League, I just wanted top 5s. If I got a win, that would be amazing. But, I mean, we already got a win and a couple top 5s, and now we're locked into the championship. it takes so much pressure. It takes so much pressure off me for this whole season. So now I can try new things and just go for wins and build on that and just go into the championship guns blazing. Like, I can't even believe this.
Hey, well, if your racing was anything like it is tonight for the rest of the season, we're looking forward to it. No doubt it'll end you in victory lane a couple more times this season. So congratulations, and we're looking forward to that championship race.
Thank you so much.
And that's your segment 1 championship winner here on the PlayStation platform of Maxwell Castro.
Another thing we're looking forward to is NASCAR Heat 5, and the preview for that is out. We saw it last week for the first time. Everyone is excited. Mom, Grandma, my brother, we're all excited to get a chance to play NASCAR Heat 5, and it's coming out here in the near future. Here's a look at NASCAR Heat 5.
A cage of cold metal with hot rubber at the corners, a chariot of thundering fury. The difference between you and your rivals isn't just the war paint traded in battle, it's more. Refuse to lose. NASCAR Heat 5.
Make sure and go over to NASCARheat.com and get a chance to pre-order now. If you pre-order now, the NASCAR Heat 5 Gold Edition, you get 3 days of early access, a great game for the family, the friends. It's just a lot of fun, even if you're not a professional like the ones we are watching here tonight. The upcoming race, it's next for you right here on our coverage tonight of the NASCAR Heat Pro League, right here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Rusty, the Xbox gamers are getting ready to go.
Yeah, we know about the heavyweight battle between Justin Brooks and Daniel Buttafuoco, but don't look now. The other driver for Chip Ganassi gave me Luis Zader starting in P2. He's looking to pick up that first win. We also have Nick Walker. He's been talking a little bit about the setups underneath Justin Brooks and Daniel Buttafuoco. Will he step up and pick up his first win on the season? And the competition throughout the field is heating up week by week. So this could be a surprise race, but I'm still looking for it to come down to the very end between Justin Brooks and Daniel Buttafuoco.
Xbox gamers are coming off of an event just 1 week ago at Dover, the Monster Mile. Here's what transpired last Wednesday. As the field goes green coming off of turn 4, Brooks gets them underway. First, second, and third, basically nose to tail. Brooks, Walker, and Buttafuoco take them through the turns, Hannah. That time really closed the gap. They're basically nose to tail. We watch them race in their machines, bottom of the screen right now, as Buttafuoco on the lower right is running in the second spot, trying to set up Brooks. Brooks knows he's there, and he's trying to do everything he can to hold him off. Will that play a part in tonight's race? And look out, it goes 3 wide deep in the field. We've got action all over the racetrack now, from the top to the bottom of the track, right before pit stops. And look out, nearly 4 wide as they go down into the corner, Hannah.
Ooh.
The JTG Doherty Throttlers team looks to be on their way to their second victory in 3 races, coming to the checkered flag and across the stripe. Claiming the win is Justin Brooks as we see him celebrate. And the lower left, Buttafuoco just didn't play out down the stretch, the final run. That was Dover a week ago. Tonight, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the site, a mile track that is much flatter, shaped a little differently, but it led to some great racing for the PS4 gamers. And now the Xbox competitors getting ready to take the racetrack. And we're going to determine not only a winner tonight, just like we did in the PS4 gamers. We're going to see who goes to the championship event. The points battle was tight between Justin Brooks and Buttafuoco. Brooks starts on the pole. Luis Zader starts outside. Daniel Buttafuoco starts right behind his championship contender. In row 2, Nick Walker starts 4th. Anna?
And Nick Walker could be that dark horse that throws a win in the mix. But Matthew Heel in row 3. Jose Ruiz for Levine Family Gaming looking to back his teammate up with a win. Sam Morris and Mitch Diamond make up your row 4.
In row number 5, we have Brian Tedeschi and Matthew Selby. Row number 6, we see Tyler Dohar in the Junior Motorsports number 88. Starting alongside him is Riley Ogle. Rounding out our field in row number 7 is going to be Diego Alvarado and Slade Gravett. 1 lap away from going green for the Xbox gamers. It's a championship battle between Brooks and Buttafuoco. One of those drivers are going to go to the championship race with a segment 1 win tonight. Rusty, what's it going to take to make it happen?
Well, I still think it's going to take a long car, all about longevity. We saw Brandon Gritton in the PlayStation race fire off fast, but later in the run, the guys caught him. So maybe we might see that between Brooks and Buttafuoco and these other guys in the race today. But I still think it's all about getting a long run car and being there at the end.
10 points separate them. Justin Brooks with 105, Daniel Buttafuoco with 95. They start first and third in this race. Could end up in a virtual tie with that 10-point differential. If Buttafuoco wins and Brooks finishes second, that would be the case. That could really have that calculator burning up that Rusty's got at his ready. Ready for the green from New Hampshire. We're underway for the Xbox gamers. That Cottonelle number 37 machine has found itself at the front of the field a lot. Has won 2 races, Homestead as well as Dover. Buttafuoco with a victory at the Glen. Right now watching as Brooks races off of turn number 4. With the lead, Zader runs second, Buttafuoco runs third. Walker and Heel completing the top 5, Hannah.
And Brooks with a risky move to the high groove. Will he try and work that high groove in? Or will Louis Zader be there to take advantage of that bottom groove? We saw in the PlayStation race that bottom groove preferred. Don't leave that door open on the bottom. But Brooks so far able to make some momentum. Zader, though, there to the quarter panel. Little block move there by Justin Brooks off of the corner. Caution is out, though, on the race course. So someone somewhere, unfortunately, bringing that caution out.
Early yellow in this race. We didn't have one in the first race until after the halfway point, after the round of pit stops. This one coming just a couple of laps in. Brooks was leading. Zader was all over him, Rusty, looking to make a move right before the yellow came out.
Yeah, and I got to think these guys are going to stay out on pit stops here, at least the top 10. Maybe the guys in the back will come in and take 4. We might as well. You're already back of the pack. But I'm looking for more aggression from drivers like Slade Gravett, because he started in the back. He's one of the fastest drivers out there. How is he going to move forward? Tedeschi had a DNF last week. How is he going to move his way forward? I'm going to keep an eye on that 7th spot here after pit stops to see where they cycle through.
Well, we've seen Heel take the lead, so we saw a few pit stops take place under this yellow flag. Gravett in second, Zader third, Brooks, Buttafuoco the top 5, and we're back underway as that Rowdy Energy number 51 will lead the field down into turn 1. Gravett fighting back on the outside, 3 wide, dropping to the bottom. Here comes Zader as they race off of turn 2, Hannah.
3 wide, multiple places on the racetrack right now. The number 5 of Morris was amidst those just a few seconds ago. Your leaders were 3 wide, but they've shaken out. Now the whole field side by side. Oh, 3 wide. They're going to try it again with Morris, Gravett, and Buttafuoco. Risky move. Buttafuoco does not want to be in that position. 49 laps still to go here at New Hampshire, and these drivers are throwing it all out there. Also in that mix, Justin Brooks on the middle of Alvarado and Gravett. What are these drivers doing? This is a points battle right now, but you're seeing exactly what I guessed. Some of these drivers that are looking for a win. Whoa, Brooks just sends it into the corner and uses Buttafuoco as the brakes. What are these drivers doing?
I don't know, but right now Buttafuoco's the meat and the sandwich, and he slides back another spot or 2. He and Buttafuoco, Brooks and Buttafuoco right now having an amazing battle as they try to race up into the top 5 after those pit stops and that early yellow. It's crazy early. Zader leads, Heel second, but the story is Brooks and Buttafuoco in 3rd and 4th. They're side by side. The Geico 13 of Buttafuoco trying to take the spot from the Cottonelle 37 of Brooks. It's for the 3rd position, and now we have another yellow flag coming out onto the racetrack. The field slows for a second time early on, Rusty.
Yeah, the goosebumps, the chills are going up and down my body right now. I knew this was going to be a heavyweight battle, but I didn't expect beating and banging with these guys middle of the pack. Are you kidding me? This is incredible racing. We saw Brooks send it. He's trying to get to the championship and he sends it. And then Buttafuoco in the next corner takes it right back. This is unbelievable. They're taking it every corner of every lap, like treating it like it's the last lap. This is incredible racing to watch right now.
Early in this event, just 8 laps completed. It feels like we are in the final 8 laps of a race. The way they're driving, the excitement level amped up, the drama building for these drivers. That is Brooks in the 37 as we get ready for a restart. There's the 2 championship segment 1 contenders. The 13, the Geico machine of Buttafuoco, Brooks, and the Cottonelle 37 running 6. So 5th and 6th is where our championship segment 1 contenders are coming from. They've got 4 drivers in front of them, including Selby, who leads the field into turn 1. Hannah?
And already 3 wide, the front row. Selby, Alvarado, and Zader, 3 wide all through them. Oh my goodness. No one wasting any time here. Buttafuoco and Brooks. Oh, contact. Brooks, though, holds on to it. As looks like Sam Morris will try and take advantage of that altercation there and slide on the bottom there. But Brooks, protect mode, trying to line himself back up here. Looks like Sam Morris is going to try and go to the outside. Brooks, he is in send it mode. He has sent it in every single one of these corners. Sends it to the inside of Buttafuoco. Those two now side by side. Buttafuoco cleared himself to the bottom. Those two swap positions. They know that they are each other's competition, and they are treating them like each other tonight.
It is unbelievable. They're all sending it into the corner deep. Every single one of these drivers right now. Buttafuoco to the lead. He came in trailing by 10 points to Brooks for that segment 1. Guess what? They're 1st and 2nd. Buttafuoco and Brooks. 1 and 2 in the championship chase. And now, heading into the middle stage of this race, they're 1st and 2nd in this event. And again, a yellow flag. 3 yellow flags early. That just shows the intensity of these drivers. The cautions coming out early, Rusty. The drivers are really on edge in the early stages of this event.
Yeah, I thought this was supposed to be about longevity, but these guys are going for it every single corner. Like it's the last lap. This and the tire strategy playing into it, the championship leaders, and they were going 3 and 4 wide at one point. I didn't know you could do that at New Hampshire. This is supposed to be a single groove racetrack, and they're swapping the lead every corner. This is what it's all about. New Hampshire is putting on a show. Brooks and Buttafuoco, let's go.
It doesn't get much more exciting than this unless you're in one of those cockpits driving the car yourself. You know, these guys are professionals. These are some of the best. They get drafted by these NASCAR teams to run their cars throughout the eNASCAR Heat Pro League. But you can play it yourself. This NASCAR 4, but NASCAR 5 coming out in the near future. Oh, it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. And tonight we're going to see what driver thinks this is great and a lot of fun, and which driver thinks, man, I came up just that short. And there's going to be some dismay, and a driver's going to go home unhappy, I think, whether it's Buttafuoco or whether it's Brooks, because one of those aren't going to be going to the championship race, and right now they're racing extremely hard up in the top 3. They're on the outside lane racing with heel. Buttafuoco briefly takes the lead. Here comes Brooks threading the needle. Contact made, and again, a yellow flag comes out.
And cautions are breeding cautions. We saw some contact between a couple other cars mid-pack there. You can see on your lower of Justin Brooks there making an adjustment to that camera, but frustration. Look at his reaction. He knows that right now that contact is a little early on here in the race, and unhappy driver we have there.
Oh, slightly. I would say slightly unhappy. Buttafuoco leads, heel. Brooks running 3rd. Alvarado running 4th. Gravett running in the 5th position. 37 laps to go. It's so intense. You know how intense it is for us, Hannah, Rusty? Can you imagine trying to be a driver that you're not only going for the $2,000 to win in the race, but you're going for a chance to get in the championship event, which pays $30,000 to win?
Yeah, they told us the stakes were higher in season 2 than ever before, and they were absolutely right. The segments, the money, this is feeling like this is for the championship right here. As you saw the patience go out the window, tempers are flaring with Brooks and Buttafuoco. We're only halfway, so it'll be interesting if they calm down, settle down, get into a long green flag run here, or if they're just going to keep going at each other. Maybe a little more payback, we'll see. But this race is this has been something. I love the competition. And we're seeing it heat up again, 3 wide through turn 3 and 4.
34 laps to go. Likely within 7, 8 laps or so, maybe of another pit stop, but the yellows have really changed things up with all the cautions we've had early. Riding along with Brooks, point leader coming in, trying to win segment number 1 to go to the championship. Might need to win the race to make that happen. Buttafuoco was 10 points behind coming in. Guess what? They would right now be in a virtual tie because he would claim 10 more points finishing in the lead, Buttafuoco would, than Brooks finishing in second. So we could end up in that virtual tie, Hannah. It's crazy right now.
That we could, and multiple things. We saw it in the finale, and we had to go down to the third tiebreaker to crown a champion. Look here, we ride along with Justin Brooks, and there is definitely contact being made. You can see it, unable to hold the line. Looks like someone's on the inside of him there. He is trying so hard to reel in Buttafuoco, though, but a little bit more momentum that Buttafuoco carries has been able to maintain that lead. But he is giving it everything he's got, starting to put some distance between himself and Alvarado there. This is going to be a great battle when these two catch each other. But don't forget, 31 laps to go. We've still got that second cycle of pit stops here, or the first cycle of pit stops, which could shake everything up. But these two, class of the field, they've shown it through the preseason. They've shown it during early on in segment 1 here. Ooh, bobble there by Buttafuoco. Allowed Brooks to reel him in a little bit. But class of the field, these two are.
31 laps to go, make it 30 this time at the line. Just a few laps away from the halfway mark of the race. The two segment 1 contenders right now running first and second. Virtual tie right now for the first segment lead and a chance to lock into that championship race. It's kind of playing out as we expected it to do so, Rusty.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful view as you're riding on Brooks and P2 behind Buttafuoco for the championship point lead. And the cool thing about that view is you can see the difference in the racing line that each of the drivers took. You saw Buttafuoco kind of roll the high side a little bit longer and more smooth, whereas Brooks would charge it and kind of dime in the corner to get a run off. It played out a bit equally on the stopwatch, but it just showed you there's multiple ways to get around the racetrack here. And as the tires start to fade, tires start to wear with this 3-time tire wear, it's only going to change their lines up even more as they're trying to find a spot for more grip and less slip off the corner. But this is still delivering as billed, as promised, with Brooks and Buttafuoco.
You see the live standings on the right. As we mentioned, Brooks and Buttafuoco tied at 135. And then, of course, there's all kinds of tiebreakers involved with who's won, with who's finished second, if they're still tied. And this could play out really interesting and go pretty far down the line as far as tiebreakers go. We'll watch as that plays out. But the Geico 13 of Buttafuoco leading the way halfway through this event at Virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Rusty Walrus, Hannah Newhouse, Adam Mackey bringing you the coverage of this one. The PS4 gamers, they completed their event a little while ago. Josh Harbin claimed the win. Maxwell Castro locked into the championship for the end of the year. And we're watching right now as the Xbox gamers go at it with Buttafuoco, Brooks first and second, Alvarado running third, Heel, Gravett, Tedeschi rounding out the top 6 as it's 26 to go from New Hampshire, Hannah.
And they are starting to spread themselves out a little bit, but we saw it in the PlayStation game. A couple of drivers found their way out front early, and then someone that rode around in the top 7 won the race. So, Rusty, I have to ask, is there anyone that you're looking at here, whether it be Slade Gravett or Tedeschi, that could make that rally later on to the front of the pack and is just conserving, or is everyone pretty much going all out at the moment?
You know, I'm really keeping an eye on Tedeschi, looking at the stopwatch here, especially if a caution does happen to fly again. Tedeschi is very aggressive, and he could position himself like we kind of saw Castro do in the PlayStation race. So I'm looking at Tedeschi, but Diego Alvarado is really impressive to me right now. He started in the back. He's all the way up in third and holding on to third, so impressive run by the 43. I'm also looking at Nick Walker. He started up front, faded all the way to the back, and he's just kind of trapped back there in 10. So I'm always looking at Nick Walker, so the race isn't over until the checker flies with the driver of the 6. But Slade Gravett 6. I mean, this could change at any moment with a yellow and tire and track position strategy.
Race 4 of 14, the final race of segment number 1 going on right now for the Xbox gamers. Next Thursday, we will be at Mid-Ohio for the NASCAR Truck Series, as we are going to move to Thursday night the next couple of weeks with NASCAR coming back and doing some actual Wednesday shows. We're going to move one night later to Thursday for the next couple weeks of our coverage of the eNASCAR Heat Pro League season number 2. So make sure and join us next Thursday for that. Buttafuoco, we're watching the Geico number 13. Leading the way, Brooks running second, Alvarado third. Fourth is Heel, fifth Tedeschi, Morris, and Gravett sixth and seventh. They've spread out a little bit more in this race than what we may have seen in the PlayStation race, but the racing early was just nuts with caution after caution, drivers battling extremely hard, and these two drivers, Buttafuoco and Brooks, being in some precarious positions, Hannah, but right now they're kind of clean out at the front of the field. Nobody around them, just kind of riding, letting the laps wind down before maybe the next bit of drama takes place.
That they are, and all it takes is a caution for them. That'll group everyone back up, but as their tires continue to wear down, we could see these gaps be closed, but this is what Buttafuoco wants to see right now. Unfortunately, that's still sitting in a tie, though. In that point, we'd have to go to those tiebreakers, so realistically, he wants Diego Alvarado to catch Justin Brooks. But Alvarado under fire by Tedeschi there. Tedeschi tried the bottom, couldn't make it stick. Those two have now single filed back down. But an ideal situation for Buttafuoco would be to have a car between him and Brooks. Right now, no one seems to have anything for both Brooks and Buttafuoco, as almost 5 seconds is between Buttafuoco and your third place runner of Alvarado.
Two-man race. It came in as a segment 1 battle between those two. Buttafuoco in the Geico number 13 out of East Brunswick, New Jersey. Brooks in the Cottonelle number 37 from McCall, South Carolina. They're the top two in this race. Virtual tie right now for the championship. Tied at 135 in the standings. How will that change? Will pit stops play a part in this? Rusty pit stops going to be very important coming up.
Yes, they're going to be pitting shortly here. I'm keeping an eye on actually a little bit of fuel strategy here. I didn't think it was possible, but it looks like Mitch Diamond and Matthew Selby might be in heavy fuel-saving mode right now to try to possibly make it to the end. I really don't know if they can do it. I think they're attempting, as you can see the stopwatch kind of back, just the distance increased more and more and more, so maybe that's why they're backing off. But Brooks and Buttafuoco, if they pit early, one lap, that's about a second on the stopwatch, so Brooks could possibly pit one lap ahead of Buttafuoco, so keep an eye on that. But I also am looking at Tedeschi. I told him, I told you guys, he's a driver to keep an eye on, especially if the yellow comes out as he works his way forward. But last week, the storyline on the Xbox side was lapped traffic. If these leaders get into these lap traffic cars, it could impact the battle for the win and ultimately a position in the championship. So I'm keeping an eye on that lap traffic as well.
Watching the 42, the credit 1, number 42 of Zader running in the 10th position. Walker right behind him, running for the top 10 position. They're pretty far back from the rest of the field, 14 seconds plus behind Buttafuoco, as Buttafuoco and Brooks first and second, and they're the two drivers bottom of the screen working the wheel. See how low Buttafuoco sits, steering wheel right in his face. Brooks sits up a little bit higher, well above the steering wheel. He looks a little calmer than he looked earlier in this event when all of the drama was taking place and the yellow flags were flying. And with 15 laps to go in this event, Buttafuoco leads. Brooks runs in second. 1 second separating the two right now, Hannah. I think we're going to watch this one go right down to the wire, and maybe even afterwards trying to figure out who's going to claim this segment 1 win.
All I know is I am glad I am not the person in charge of the calculator. I'll leave that to Rusty and the professionals. Math, not my strong suit, but these guys have put on a show the entire segment 1. They proved that they belong here at the top of the standings, and they both deserve a shot in the championship. But like you'd mentioned, only one of them will lock in tonight. The other one will have to set themselves up for success in segment 2 or 3 or even that wild card race. But both Buttafuoco and Justin Brooks, class of the field in the Xbox race the last couple of races. So a couple of these drivers are probably hoping that one of them locks in, because that could open up an opportunity for one of them in the other segments to lock in, with one of them already being locked in. But Brooks trying to reel in Buttafuoco. He's closed that gap up a little bit, almost under a second now to him. He is hoping a caution flies, but right now, like you mentioned, the field pretty much spread out. Don't foresee one coming, but Rusty had mentioned it last week. We saw a lap car race very hard with one of the leaders. trying to get that lap back. Could Buttafuoco catch one of the cars that's a lap down, and will they race them aggressively? It didn't stop a lap car last week. Could we see that same aggression in tonight's race, with even that much more being on the line of a championship lock-in spot?
I'm interested to see if some of the contact earlier in the race will impact that lap traffic. Maybe they're remembering how Brooks and Buttafuoco raced them in the early stages. Maybe they'll like we saw last week, not give them any room, so that could play a factor going forward.
12 laps remaining. Buttafuoco and Brooks first and second, and Brooks cuts into it a little bit and then loses a little bit coming off of the corner. Right around a second is where it's stabilized. 9/10 now as he tries to close on the Geico number 13. How important is it going to be getting onto pit road and off of pit road down here to the final 10 laps? And Buttafuoco has to stay out front. If Brooks wins this race, Brooks clearly and easily wins segment number 1 and goes to the championship. But Buttafuoco, he, with a win tonight, would be tied at 135 if Brooks finishes in second, and they would each have 2 wins. It's just crazy how dominant these two drivers have been, Rusty, in this first segment.
Yeah, they've both been dominant. They've both leading laps, winning races. And I'm even looking at the long run with both these cars. They're basically dead even on the early part of the run, the middle part of the run, and then this long part of the run. They're just dead even. So I'm looking for Brooks to jump down pit road 1 lap early to maybe leapfrog Buttafuoco, because they're just that even, and you need to find any advantage you can get if your cars are that close. So I'm curious if Brooks is going to follow Buttafuoco or if he will come early here coming up.
Will be interesting. And again, 1 second, the difference between the two. Gravett, Dohar, Zader over 16 seconds behind the third place car, make it 17. It's the top 2. Just amazing drivers at this NASCAR Heat Pro League. And here they come to pit road, and look at the ground that Brooks is making up on Buttafuoco as they enter the pits, and that will be huge. When they come back out, we're going to have a tight battle as we watch them side by side back in the field. Here's the credit one, number 42 of Zader, running right now in the 5th position. He's been on the move a little bit, picking up some spots, running right behind Dohar in the 88 car. The good humor number 88 of Tyler Dohar. Side by side they race. 8 laps to go in the event as they cross the line, as the leaders have come to the pits. No one else has made the trip down pit road yet, Hannah.
Interesting move to see with those 2 leaders. Again, it comes down to them in points. It's going to matter which one finishes in front of the other. So you see them both cycle through the pit cycle. That puts Slade Gravett at the front of the field. And Jay Pennell, he called it. He said, take an eye and keep a watch on Slade Gravett. And right now, he is at the front, over a 2-second lead of Tyler Dohar for Junior Motorsports. Those 2, or 3 really, Louis Zader right there starting to get involved in that mixture is all. So we'll have to see where our leaders cycled through. There in that 8th and 9th position. Brooks now with the lead over Buttafuoco, almost 2 seconds. 3 seconds between those 2. This could be the end-all for Buttafuoco.
Huge change and a turn of events on that pit stop. Buttafuoco came to the pits with the advantage. Brooks leaves the pits with a 3-second advantage, Rusty. What could happen on a pit stop like that to change it that much?
You know, with the gap in the stopwatch of only 3 seconds, I don't think Buttafuoco took 4. I'm wondering between if it was a fuel only or right sides only. I'm curious how Brooks pulled 3 seconds. I know I'm the expert, but Brooks, how did you came in behind him and he pulled 3 seconds? I got to learn that trick he pulled right there. But maybe he just took a little bit of splash of gas to get to the end, as I think the guys out front right now in the top 3 did save enough gas to try to make it to the end. I know Tyler Dohar notoriously has an extra gear built into his car to save gas, so keep an eye on that 88. He could be there to steal this win late.
Well, we'll see if the fuel calculator was working for Brooks there, as he has the advantage on those spots. In the 8th position, has the advantage on Buttafuoco, who runs 9th, a couple of seconds, about 1.2 behind. He's actually cut the gap as we ride along with the Cottonelle number 37 of Brooks, running down the 7th position as he makes the pass of Ogle, down to 4 laps to go. Those 2 drivers were going for the segment 1 win for a chance to lock in to the season-ending championship race that pays $30,000. Tonight's race pays $2,000 to win. Slade Gravett currently leads in the 21 down to the final few laps. Interesting to see which drivers will have to come to the pits next, and Who might be trying to stretch it, Rusty?
Yeah, we're coming down to 3 to go, and I'm looking at the leaderboard on the left. Buttafuoco is on, makes the pass on Brooks for position right there as we're riding on board. It's not gonna be enough points to take the championship lead unless the guys run out of fuel in front of them. This is big time. Buttafuoco's only hope right now is for everyone running 1 through 6 to run out of fuel and for Buttafuoco to get the win. That's the only way Buttafuoco locks us. Otherwise, Brooks advances to the championship.
Yeah, the position difference in points after you consider the top two, where it's a 10-point difference. Once you get past third or fourth, it's just a point per position, so it's not enough. He trailed by 10 to Brooks coming into this event, and there's just one spot between the two in 7th and 8th, so it's going to be, he'll make up 1 point at this stage. 2 laps to go in the event. Gravett still leads. Zader runs second. Dohar third. We're riding along with Brooks, who right now is in line to transfer to the championship race with a win in segment 1. So he's just riding right now. He's got to be pretty comfortable, Hannah.
That he does. He knows he's got it locked up where it stands. The fan in me would love to see a caution, knowing Buttafuoco's got fresh tires. But final lap, Slade Gravett looking for that win, and Brooks looking for that lock-in position. This could be the lap that puts them both in good position.
The spin, number 21, exits turn number 4, comes across the line at Virtual New Hampshire and claims the victory. The driver from Cumming, Georgia, wins the event. A surprise winner that kind of comes out of nowhere after we watched Brooks and Buttafuoco go all race long at the front of the field, racing for contention to go to the championship, and it turns out to be Gravett claiming the victory tonight. So that kind of comes out of nowhere, because a lot of drivers were able to make it to the finish without making an additional pit stop, Rusty.
Yeah, Slade kind of pulled one on the field right there. He saved just enough fuel to be the fastest guy, to stay ahead of the field. We've seen in previous weeks, a guy like Joey Stone would try to save fuel, but he burned up a little too much. So Slade somehow practiced it, figured it out. He came prepared and saved just enough to win this race. And the cool thing is Slade was the #1 overall draft pick in season 1, and he's now just picking up a victory here in season 2, his first one in season 2. So shout out to Slade Gravett.
And some of that, we saw the top 2 were like 17 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So I'm not so sure that the whole field, basically, except the top 2, weren't in some fuel conservation mode, Hannah.
I would agree with that. I mean, when you look at the finish and how you said the gap between the two and then the rest of the field, a late pit stop by our 2 contenders for the championship, a bunch of different strategies, but good on the young gun for really crunching the math, learning what it takes to win, and pulling a fuel strategy out here for the win.
Well, it was a good one tonight. The PS4 action was crazy, with a number of drivers a chance to win the championship. The Xbox, we knew it was coming down to Brooks or Buttafuoco, and it came down to Brooks, the final pit stop, having a better pit stop, and the fact that a lot of drivers did not come to the pits and stayed out, that really helped Brooks in the long run as well. Slade Gravett for Wood Brothers Gaming claims the win. In the spin, number 21, Luis Zader finishes in the 2nd spot. Tyler Dohar, Jose Ruiz, and Nick Walker rounding out the top 5. Buttafuoco finishes in the 6th position. Mitch Diamond takes the 7th spot in the number 3 car. Hannah?
And take a look at the field a little further back. Justin Brooks with that 8th spot, but that's exactly the spot that he needed to lock into that championship spot. Riley Ogle in 9th, Diego Alvarado in 10th, Matthew Heel, Brian Tedeschi, Sam Morris, and Matthew Selby. 2 laps down, unfortunately for that Stuart Haas esports driver, will come home 14th.
Time to take a look at the all-important driver standings for the end of the first segment. Justin Brooks by 8 points over Daniel Buttafuoco. Brooks goes to the championship race at the end of the year, a chance to win $30,000. Slade Gravett does take 3rd in the standings via the win tonight. Luis Zader finishes 4th. Nick Walker takes 5th. Tyler Dohar, Mitch Diamond completing the top 7.
And rounding out the end of the field here in the driver standings, Matthew Heel and Matthew Selby in 8th and 9th. Riley Ogle in your top 10. Jose Ruiz, Diego Alvarado, Brian Tedeschi, and Sam Morris round out your field for those official driver standings. So a lot of those drivers looking forward to segment 2 to build on that, get a fresh start here, and try and get that top position to lock in to the championship.
At the end of the year, there will be a team champion as well. And the team standings right now between Xbox and PlayStation, the combination for each of these competitors, Germain Gaming leading the way by 10 over Chip Ganassi Gaming. Wood Brothers in third, JTG Doherty in the fourth spot, Levine Family Gaming rounding out the top five. Go Fast running six, Stuart Haas in the seventh position when it comes to the unofficial team standings after race number 4. Taking a look at the team standings, that completes the first segment of 3 segments during the course of the 2020 campaign for the eNASCAR Heat Pro League season number 2. The winner of the race tonight claiming the victory, kind of coming from behind by staying out late in the game. The Wood Brothers Gaming number 21 from Cumming, Georgia, Slade Gravett, who's with Hannah Newhouse.
And Slade Gravett, a great run for you there. Pulled one out of the bag here late in the race. Fuel strategy looked like to be the name of the game. Was that something you had planned on all week long in practice? What was your strategy there that ultimately got you there in victory lane?
So I'm not going to lie. When I was practicing last night, I was practicing as the race was a 70-lap race, thinking it was 70 laps. And I was practicing strategy for 35 laps at a time for a one-stop. And I guess that stupidity, first testing lap counts and strategies paid off because we had to go 35 for that final run. But I can't believe we got it. We started last. Probably had a 7th place car, 8th place car, and just got the strategy right and was able to save enough gas and save the tire. We about blew a right rear coming off 4, but I got to thank everybody at Wood Brothers Gaming, Ride Spin. First time we wore the black shirt instead of the orange, and we win. So I guess we're keeping the orange in the closet. But yeah, also got to give a shout out to Cody Giles. We worked hard on this track. We both knew coming in this would not be one of our better tracks. We put a lot of work into this track, so I got to give a shout out to Cody Giles as well, and also 2 fastest cars in the field, Justin Brooks and Deanna Bofuco. Class the field, those 2, no doubt.
Now, last season, you were the number 1 draft pick, and your car owner, John Wood, had promised you when you got that first win, you were going to get a spin scooter. You won the first race out at Charlotte. You've got a year now on it. How many miles have you put on that Ride Spin scooter? And is there anything else now in the bag from your car owner that is some new perks as you're collecting some wins?
Probably more miles than he thought I would have. That is a lot of fun. I will say that thing is. I've rode a lot recently, but when I first got it, I was on it almost a lot. So, and he didn't tell me anything. He was actually talking some smack because I qualified 14th. So thank you, John, for trash talking me for qualifying last. Yeah, I think that's about all we got here.
That little fire that you needed to get back through the field. But again, your winner here in tonight's Xbox race, Slade Gravett. Congratulations. Looking forward to watching you the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Awesome job in the booth.
Slade Gravett, impressive victory tonight. Rusty, able to claim the win. Doesn't get to go to the championship race yet, but he carries momentum into that second segment. The driver that does go to the championship is now with Hannah Newhouse. That is Justin Brooks.
Crazy race here on the Xbox side of things. Neck and neck the entire time, you and Daniel Botafuco, but Justin Brooks, you've collected that Segment 1 championship. First of all, your emotions here being locked into that championship finale.
I mean, it's great knowing I'm locked into the championship finale. I just wish we had a better result today. Our finish did not show our performance. We had rear end damage from getting rear-ended on the restarts and stuff, and trying to run down Dan was a task already itself because he's been super fast here all week. But with rear end damage, you're sliding all over the place and all. And I was just sitting there wheeling a car. Next thing I know, everybody's like, we're saving gas. By the time we realized it's too late to save. So me and Dan just went all out, and I ended up taking 2 tires. Almost spun off pit road because I've never taken 2 tires here before. And I might as well take literally no tires at all because it was junk. It felt like I was on straight ice out there, but managed to come home with a 8th place finish, and much it disgusts me to say that, but we're locked into the championship finale. We can go for this championship this year. I feel like we should have been there last year, but circumstances prevented that. So I'm really excited for that.
and we're excited to watch you. But I have to ask you here, that race, we were all surprised in the booth how aggressive everyone was early on. Didn't matter where you were in the point standings. Everyone was throwing haymakers left and right. Did you expect everyone to be that aggressive? And it seemed like you and Buttafuoco found yourself in the middle of 3 wide every other corner.
I think that's an understatement at this point. Literally, like I did not expect some of them guys to do that, and they ain't gonna be on my Christmas cards this year for hitting my back bumper off, and I'm gonna send the bill to JTG to send the DM and all that for the rear bumper damage they gave me tonight. But yeah, I mean, I expected a little bit. It's a short track restarts. People are gonna dive it off in there. People have short run cars and people have long run cars, and you've seen the people that was fast for 10 laps and then fade to the back. So they were just trying to make the best of what they had and all. And for me and Dan, like, we were trying to look out for each other and not wreck each other in the process, because we're both friends and all. And I respect him as a racer. He's always ran me clean. I've always run him clean. And I got into him because I got punted into him. I'm like, Dan, it ain't my fault, man. I got hit to you. I'm sorry. But like, besides that, like, everything was good besides the restarts. Everything was great. Except, like I said, it came down to fuel mileage, which sucked because I really wanted to see how that finished would have been if me and Dan could race it up for the win.
Well, congratulations. We're looking forward to watching you in that championship race. $30,000 on the line. Congrats on a great segment 1, Justin.
Yeah, I want to thank JTG, Doherty, Throttlers. I want to thank Blake Cope. I want to thank everybody for believing me, Cotton Hill, Team Chevy, everyone that is associated with the team, because this year, like I said, we're going for this championship.
Impressive job by Justin Brooks over the first 4 races to claim segment 1 victory and head to the championship. Now we'll start talking about segment number 2. It starts next Thursday. That's right. It's Thursday, not Wednesday now, because NASCAR is going to actually be back in action running on Wednesday night. So we're going to run the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series virtual race on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It begins from Mid-Ohio. So we'll check that out a week and 1 day from tonight. It was an impressive night for our drivers that locked into the championship race. I think Justin Brooks, a sigh of relief. He was disappointed in his effort tonight. His effort was pretty good. He just had to make that extra pit stop. I think him and Buttafuoco both were the class of the field, but having to make the extra pit stop at the end shuffled him back, Rusty, and I don't think they have anything to hang their heads about. They were extremely fast tonight.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Justin Brooks for making it to the championship. That's a tough task with Danny Buttafuoco on him the first 4 races here, but you kind of get put in a tough position as the leader of the race. You kind of got to go for it. And when the guys that are a little bit off the pace have the opportunity to save, they're going to do that. So Slade, as he said, kind of stole the win, but Brooks and Buttafuoco, like we said, coming in, they delivered. This isn't over. Like, this isn't over. We saw the tempers flaring a little bit. I think we're going to see this every week the rest of the season. And over on PlayStation, the competition, like, you didn't know who was going to win the thing down to the very last lap. The championship contenders, just unreal. Maxwell Castro, the rookie, advances to the championship for Chip Ganassi game. And just, you can't ask for anything more than these we've gotten in these first 4 races in the NASCAR Heat Pro League.
And Hannah, we've seen 4 races now. I think we're excited for race number 5 and the start of segment 2 to see what 2 drivers we're going to lock in next when it comes to the championship.
Well, I have to think that Daniel Buttafuoco was looking at this, and while he's disappointed he didn't get it his segment 1, segment 2 is calling his name. He was the class of the field, like we'd mentioned in this first segment and in the preseason. So time for him to re-rack him and restack him and get it going again in segment 2. But hey, I got to get this Christmas list I got to rephrase this. I got to get the naughty list that everyone is on from Justin Brooks, because he'd mentioned it. Not happy with a lot of these drivers. And you hear from Kyle Arnold on the PlayStation side who says, hey, I'll never take anyone to a bumper. And then you've got Justin Brooks who says, no, I'm here for you race me and I race you the same way. So different strategies. Love it, though. We love the competitiveness from these drivers. It doesn't matter if you're racing for 10th or if you're racing for this championship lock-in point. These drivers all want it the same. So this is just setting us up for a great start into segment 2. We saw the excitement at Watkins Glen in the trucks. It's going to happen here at Mid-Ohio. These drivers, just for some reason, the rough toughness comes out of them in the truck races, and let's send it to them on a road course.
And remember, that's coming up next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, not on Wednesday night, because we're going to watch the real NASCAR action taking place on TV coming up a week from tonight. On behalf of Rusty Walrus and Hannah Newhouse and the rest of the NASCAR Heat Pro League, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Adam Mackey saying so long from New Hampshire.
A cage of cold metal with hot rubber at the corners. A chariot of thundering fury. The difference between you and your rivals isn't just the war paint traded in battle. It's more. Refuse to lose. NASCAR Heat 5.